all of you to take your seats so that we can start. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please ask everybody to please settle down and take your seats so that we can start with the next bit of our program today. So this has been many reasons. We've had the ceasefire, and I know quite a lot of us are saying ceasefire-ish because of everything that's happening as we speak across the pond. So this is a very historic week. It is also very historic because it is the last dinner of who we call
a bit of an emotional experience with this speech this morning. So first of all, I want to begin by saying thank you. Whilst this is about Muslim Leadership Dinner, today actually marks, or this week, or I should say in a few days, the end of my 4-year term, OMG, as the Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain. Fellow Deputy Secretary General, we're nearly at the finish line. Won't they let us end? Every day, new scandal. But can I ask you to give a round of applause for my whole executive team, our National Council. I want to thank really sincerely with my heart His Excellency, Your Excellencies, members of Parliament, Deputy Mayor, Baroness, honourable gentlemen, all the fabulous people. I really thought so hard about every single invitation here today because all of you have meant so much to our journey as the NCB and haven't we been through a lot. But to me as well, as Naim rightfully said, a woman of quite a few firsts, and notably the first woman to do this job. So I wanted to begin by answering the question. So what's it like to be the first female Secretary General? And since there's only a few of us here, I'll be super honest, yeah? And I have my former Secretary General here watching, just in case, yeah? Always a pleasure to be with them, and thank you for your support and service to the organisation. In short, it's been tough. I want to talk to you about 2 or 3 important moments so you can live it like my family live it. When I got elected, when I actually was encouraged to run, I didn't think it was that big a deal, Haroon. So you missold me PPI completely, right? What were you? It's gonna be fine. I just thought maybe BBC will cover it. It'll be a little footnote somewhere. No one's gonna really be bothered. Did I know I would be sitting in my living room in COVID, looking at a Zoom screen live on BBC at 6 p.m. staring at a blank screen with a woman asking me questions live on air as the Secretary General. So what are you intending to do? This is a historic election. What do you think? But I also think a few days later, I'd make my debut on Women's Hour and then be featured, we won't talk about that, be featured on the front page of Guardian print edition, to which my mum asked me, why are you in the newspapers all the time? I'm sick of buying these. You need to stop, right? To that experience when we had our first terror attack or bad news story, and I want to thank Saqib, I want to thank McDad, I want to thank our public affairs team, because there were truly moments in which I was, please do give them a round of applause. There were moments of crisis in which this 29-year-old from Glasgow was thinking, what on earth am I going to do? Sitting, again in another Zoom room, and having this crisis, a Cobra meeting for Muslims essentially, crisis calls at 10 p.m. And thinking, what on earth, these constant stories from Muslims. But then I want to share with you, let's fast forward a bit, to what I did just a few days ago. We met the Prime Minister of Malaysia for lunch, as you do. Then I said to the Prime Minister, hope you don't mind, but I've got a dash, I've got a train to catch. I've got 500 girls waiting for me in Blackburn who've just scored the best GCSEs in the country. Tawheedul Islam Girls School, can we give a round of applause? And I need coffee to say hi. And when I stood there in front of all these young girls, it maybe just dawned on me the significance of why being the first female Secretary General is what I really wanted to focus on. There's many of you here that share the battle scars that I share. We've been through the tough times, and Ambassador, this has been the toughest years, and we're so grateful, hopefully we're at a point of ceasefire. But to be the first woman was particularly challenging, because you can't be too bossy, you can't be too soft, you can't be too assertive, you've got to have strategy. You're going to be scrutinized, the media is going to come after you, you're a puppet, you're a token, you're fabulous, who knows, it just depends on who likes you and who doesn't. But when I stood in front of these 500 girls, and I awarded every single one of them, they were so happy to see me, and their teachers said they look up to you. They didn't know that you were a possibility for them. And their teachers gave me a massive hug, and they said, these are the top students in the country. They completely shatter the norm, and these girls are confident, articulate, courageous, and they're our future. And so we want you to be here today to speak to them. And throughout my travels, and my team have been all over the country, Newport, Swansea, and all the rest, we have met so many incredible affiliates and Muslim women. And I really do have to give it to you, ladies. Against the grain, against the negativity, against the marginalisation, you shine bright. And I always say, I thank that generation. I thank that generation for letting me be here. And I remember 4 months in the role, my mother said to me, right, so what have you changed? Gosh, Mum, give me a minute, right? And there was a little boy in Newport, he said, right, you've achieved so much now, so what are you proud of? Are you proud of yourself? I thought we've got to stop with these philosophical questions, it's getting far too much. And so whilst it's been a roller coaster of emotions, and we have taken on some of the biggest stories of our time, the thing that's made me proudest, aside from being, hopefully, Ambassador for Muslim Women, is representing the Muslim Council of Britain at the toughest of times. They literally tried to ban us, but they didn't succeed. And as I was saying to my table after the breakfast conversation, in Ramadan last year in March, I spent from the time that I started our fast to the time I opened it, doing news interviews about this extremism ban. And I can't tell you the pain and anguish I was in of the fear of knowing that we could be on a list regarded as extremists and banned. The pain that it caused our colleagues in this room and our affiliates. But then the triumph that we had, when obviously it didn't happen, but everybody who came out to support us. And as we look upon this moment and we look at this precipice of where the Muslim Council of Britain really is, and my tenure was really about engaging young people, giving it a new energy, but also making sure that the affiliates came first. And finally, I wanted to make sure that we really understood our place in Britain. that there was a national conversation about Muslims and our belonging. And it wasn't about our contribution, but it simply was because we are here. We are part of this incredible society because we too are incredible. And the story of the Muslim Council Britain, whilst it's very much turbulent and it's got its ups and downs, is one of a lot of heart and soul. And it's of people who give service without thanks, but for the sake and favour of our Almighty, for God. And it's every single day we get up, as tough as it can be, to keep going. It's rooms of resilience. It's people like all of you who make this possible. And whilst the Secretary General gets to wear the fancy jacket and obviously take on all the interviews, but really, all of us have to appreciate that it is all of our communities in their fabulous diversity, Muslim and non-Muslim, people of all faith, walks of life and belief. This Ramadan was incredibly special for all of us, and now a fixture of the British calendar. We can thank Ramadan lights. This Islamophobia Awareness Month was the biggest we've ever seen. And people were saying, we want to be your ally. And I really, really want to think about that. There was a time we couldn't even talk about it, and here we are. And to conclude, really, I just wanted to say that I actually want to talk about my younger sister, because she's one of my biggest critics. She's totally the opposite of me, super bossy, super assertive, and she will tell you exactly what she thinks. She's 20 now, and she just turned 20. So we were having one of our very emergency meetings, Brother Iqbal, as you can remember, we've had quite a few this year. And she was sitting there in the room saying, "What are you talking about? Who are you talking to? Who are all those old people? Why are you so angry? Why are you acting like it's the end of the world and you're going to solve it? And when are you going to finish?" So to my sister and my family, thank you so much for bearing with me. To my dad, thank you for dropping me off at 5 a.m. at the airport. To all you fabulous people, thank you for supporting your Secretary General through the toughest times and for making this the best experience of my life. And to all of you who've made this night very, very special, thank you. Thank you so much. Before I finish, I wanted to make the next introduction because I felt that it was really, really important. As we said, there's a few important things today that we won't talk about, but yesterday began what we call a fragile peace, a ceasefire. And it has been the toughest time for all of our communities, whether it's been at the workplace, in politics, at school, at university, it's been tough. And there has been one man who has really held the fort, who has been not just a strong voice, a resilient voice, but you have given it your all. You have been at the front line here every single day, and I've seen you at the events, you've led the marches, wherever there was a place to share the story of the people of Palestine, you've been there. And today you honoured us by coming, and I know you've just come from LBC, and I'm sure other interviews to come. But on behalf of all of us at the Muslim Council Britain, I wanted to thank you for all that you've done, Your Excellency, and please do come to the stage and share a few words with us. Please do rise, please do rise.
Thank you very much. Zara, allow me to do this first. Honorable friends, excellencies, mayors and councillors, friends, and I see many, many, many old friends and new ones. What an honor and a privilege to be with you tonight. And the honor is all mine. But I am at a disadvantage tonight. First, because what a difficult act to follow, Zara. But also because of the spices. My brain is boiling. Yet, I think Number one, how truly touched I am to stand here and say, not only you were the first female Secretary General, but you were a leader that led this great institution, this umbrella, in the most difficult of times, that stirred the ship in the most treacherous of waters, at a historic and critical moment in our history. And I can attest to your leadership, Zara, throughout the last very difficult 15 months, that you were able to bring everybody together. You were able to really walk a very fine line, despite the challenges and the attacks. And we very much salute you today, honor you and what you have done, and look forward to seeing your progression in life. And definitely, this is just a starter for a person like you are, knowing that you are specialized in international human rights. So your tireless work, your leadership capacity, your social capacity to bring people together should definitely compete with these guys on the very same table one day and being there. But I'm also very honored to be attending this 27th gathering of the Muslim Council of Britain, and completely touched to be in the presence of the founders of the Muslim Council of Britain. I see Sir Iqbal Sakarani. I'm gonna applaud you. I see Dr. Abid Bari. And I think I was here when MCB was established in London. I was 3 years old then. I was a student, young student, in the late 90s. And I very much remember the significance of establishing an institution that will bring our community together and defend our community. But number three, I am also most touched to be among my family, the British Muslim community. And I want to tell you something from my heart tonight. The last 15 months have been really, really difficult, very difficult. But I would not have been able to make it without you and every and each one of you. Our Muslim community has been there in these 15 months, in these 15 difficult months. And I know it was also difficult on you. And I followed all the attacks, all the smears. But believe you me, today we begin to feel a sense of relief because we have reached a ceasefire. But that ceasefire would not have been possible without your relentless work over the last 15 months, all of you. So thank you. Shukran jazeelan from my heart. They say you support Palestine because you are Muslims. Well, of course Muslims have to support issues of justice. But you have supported Palestine because you are humans. And the success of the Muslim community in Britain is truly, truly inspiring in contributing to this country in all spheres. Wherever you go, you feel so proud to belong to this community. In all spheres of life. Of course, politics is the most notable, but try and go to an NHS clinic or hospital. Try to see if you need a lawyer. Our lawyers, our doctors, our teachers, our professors, our everything, our media, in the media world, it's a source of pride, truly a source of pride. And that contribution, that organization, that unity of the community has been a huge muscle for justice for Palestine. Now, just to be very quick, I know we will have inspiring speakers after us, but we must work hard to make sure that this ceasefire becomes permanent. And believe you me, for Israel, for Netanyahu, it's more of a pause than a ceasefire. We must continue to work. And now that there is a ceasefire, we are discovering in the last 48 hours the magnitude of the killings and the destruction. Unthinkable. In my home in Gaza, for the last few months, we have been hosting some members of my extended family who mostly live in the north of Gaza, Jabalia, Beit Lahia, all these areas. Yesterday, they went to check on their homes. They all came back to my home in Gaza, all of them, without even being able to identify their homes. The entire neighborhoods are completely leveled. They couldn't identify the streets. It's absolutely shocking what's been happening. The numbers that you have been hearing, getting, are complete underestimation, underreporting. It will be most likely close to what the Lancet magazine has already estimated many months ago, that the number of people who are killed in this are close to 200,000 people. Either by the direct murder using airstrikes and what have you, or death by other means, i.e. starvation, freezing to death, the spread of disease, etc. So the magnitude of the task ahead to bring life back to Gaza is going to be immense, huge. And we will have to do that together. It's a big and long journey, but we must rebuild Gaza. Build it as beautiful as it was, as resilient as it was, but build more schools, more universities, more houses. But also, we must never accept to go back to the status quo ante. No return to the 6th of October. And despite all the challenges, the one thing that came out very clear in the last 15 months is no matter how much you could inflict evil on people, no matter the mass violence you can inflict, that is Israel and Israel's backers, you can never crush people's desire for freedom, for dignity, for a better future, to raise their children in a better situation. You can't. And I hope this message will resonate. So I think we need to move straight forward from ending the genocide to ending the occupation. I know sometimes the journey looks and feels very distant, but today we see it very close. We see the finish line. When we see our people, and you saw our people in Gaza, in Jerusalem, in the West Bank, and everywhere, you saw them. Can you be tested more than this? Can your will ever be more challenged? If you survive the last 15 months, you survive anything. We ain't going anywhere. And I assure you that what came out of our people in Gaza, in Jerusalem, and everywhere, but particularly in Gaza, is just a lesson in humanity, in belief, in certainty about the future. Every doctor of ours has a huge story, is a hero, including Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. I'm sure you've seen that doctor with the white robe going into the tanks. You know, that image shocked the world, but it delivered the message. Delivered the message. Our journalists, you know, Israel has killed more than 1,000 Palestinian doctors and health workers. in the last 15 months. Our journalists, 150 of them have been killed. But without our journalists, this would not have been the first genocide to be live streamed. Their heroism, but the stories of fathers insisting to sit in the middle of the rubble of their homes, making sure that their small little daughters are doing their homework. Have you seen these images? Have you seen the makeshift schools and online learning of a nation that clinches into its present and its future? But that's also not only the source of hope. The source of hope comes from the millions and millions of people. I think the last 15 months have unmasked everything. It's now very vivid. And no matter what Israel is going to do in the future, it cannot make people unsee what they have seen, unbelieve what they have believed. So the journey ahead is going to be difficult again, but I assure you, the journey is about to start. Ceasefire is not the end game. But let this be the last war. Let this be the last atrocities. Let this be the last genocide. Let this be the last suffering. And we need two hands right now. We need a hand that help us cut the cord of this genocidal regime. And the cord is here. The cord is in the West. And you've seen the role of the US. You've seen how when a US president decides to end the genocide, it was ended. So no one should argue with us the role of the third party, particularly the United States of America. So we need a hand to make sure that the backers of Israel will stop, that this occupation will be suffocated, isolated, sanctioned, boycotted, like that of South Africa. But we need another hand, a hand that will build with us, build everything up, build the future, and build a state for the Palestinian people that once again will be a minaret and a bridge between East and West and a cradle of civilization. And I believe we and you are going to achieve that destination very soon. Shukran. Thank you.